Hey guys, I'm Fresh Irish Gamer, and welcome to today's video. So today I'm just going to be explaining how I went to Japan and how I saved money and how it was kind of cheap for me. So there is a lot of people saying that Japan is a really expensive country and it'll cost like a fortune to go there. And yeah, I'm just going to show you how I went there for like pretty damn cheap. So as you can see here, I just opened up Notepad just so I can actually write down, and you can see what I have wrote down. So basically, I have the exchange rate for dollar or for pound sterling and for dollar is here. So this is right now, the start of March. So I think the best time to go to Japan, if you want to go there cheaply, is obviously off season points, as in during like either the start of their winter when it's not that cold, and during the end of their winter when it's not that cold. You could go during their summer where they'll have nice warm days, but if you nope. If you don't really care about the weather not being like amazing, like I'm from Ireland, and I'm used to rain most of the days and just cold weather, so even during the summer, so it wasn't too bad for me to go over there, and it was kind of like warm-ish during the days, even though it's their winter now. So as you can see here, my flights was 456. That was with Turkish Airlines. I should have wrote that down. It was with Turkish Airlines. The flight was about including the stopover. I had to stop over in Turkey, and then so it's 4 hours to Turkey from Ireland, and about 13 hours from Turkey to Japan. So altogether it's about maybe a 17-hour flight. But in that 17-hour flight you get 3 meals, so one in the Turkish flight to go into Turkey, and then from Turkey to Japan I got 2 meals. I got one at that night and I got breakfast next morning. So, and you get like unlimited, like you can get a refill of a drink anytime you want, really. You also get like slippers and socks and that, and like a blanket and a pillow, and it was a pretty nice flight. What else? Like my accommodation was, god damn it, keep it. My accommodation was only €175, which for 10 days was what, like just over like $17.50 a day. So yeah, I wrote down here. So basically, say my flight was €456, which is £350 or $500. And normally the flights are over €1,000. So I got them for half as cheap, which was great. That's the reason I kind of went, because it was just like, wait, I could go during the summer and pay like $1,200, and accommodation would have been a lot dearer too, or I could go now and save like a lot of money. So yeah, I just went for it. So basically, as you can see here, this is basically this in pound and this in euro, or this in dollars, and accommodation is €175, £134 and $192, and that's for 10 days. So 10 days. So yeah, so that'll be what, like $17.50, basically that, $17.50 a night. So which would be £13 a night, which would be $19 a night. So, and then the total for flights and accommodation was £431, or €431, €631, or £485, or just under 700, so 693. So which is not bad for flights and accommodation to Japan. But what I'm saying now is this is from Ireland. If you're from America, it could be cheaper, it could be dearer. It also depends on your location. But I'm from Ireland, which is pretty far away. It's like basically on the other side of the world. So depending on where you live, you could live slightly closer. I know Australians and people from New Zealand, they have really good connections with Japan, and so does anywhere else inside of Asia. So obviously, if you're from either Australia, New Zealand, or anywhere else in Asia, you're going to get to Japan a lot cheaper. I'm not like the accommodation will be the same, but I'm saying the flights I know you can get from my friend, or a person I met over there told me her flights to Japan was like dead cheap. It was maybe like 200 Australian dollars. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but it can't be too far away from US dollars. So yeah, it could be it's a lot cheaper. So yeah, if you're from Australia and you want to go to Japan, if you haven't looked at the flights yet, they're probably pretty cheap. Uh, Anyways, other things like spending money, as in I paid just for general attractions, like the stuff you can do to go there cheap. Like okay, and once you get there, you paid your €631, and that got you there, and that has your accommodation sorted for 10 days. So my full holiday basically. Uh, yeah, so basically, and then shrines, but like basically most shrines are free. If you like, there's basically there's outside a shrine, which is there's loads of other things to do, like to pay your respects and stuff like that. But then I think there's some of them you can go into the temple, the building, and you might pay like 100 or 200 yen to get in and just like look around and then go out again. But you don't have to. You can still walk around the little area and they're still pretty good. The zoo, basically you can spend a whole day at the zoo. It's absolutely huge zoo. It cost me 600 yen, and 600 yen was about just over €4. So that would be if like €4 would be what, nearly what, $3. Yeah, it would just be over. It'd be just over three. It'd just be over £3, and it would be about just over $4. So that's not bad to get into a zoo. Like over here, you're paying like 15, like 15, €20 to get into the zoo, and it's not as big as the one I went to there. The zoo I went to was in Ueno, so it's like Ueno. I'm pretty sure it's Ueno. That's how I learned to pronounce it. But the zoo there was pretty good. It was €600, and you spend nearly a full day there. The museum was, how much was it? I think it was like 400 yen, or 400 or 500 yen. I had like a leaflet. It was like maybe 400, like 40 yen or something. So basically, it's still cheaper. It's still pretty cheap to get into a museum, and that museum was huge. And then you just got like all the parks, like there's things that you don't have to do. Like you could spend, if you had like a budget per day, you could spend one day just walking around like a park or something, and like going through like different things in the park, and there was a huge parks there, and you could spend whole days just like walking through them and that. And then you save money, and you could spend the money if you want to go into like Electric Town, Akihabara, and you can buy some figurines, and it was amazing. But like there's plenty of places that are basically free and cheap. Most attractions are pretty cheap, and you only get expensive like if you're gonna eat out every night at a fancy restaurant. Obviously you're gonna be paying a lot of money. What I ate was on the first night I got there. I was so tired from flying all night, I didn't get any sleep on the plane, so I ended up just buying like a pot noodle. Basically, actually, what my fucking camera is sitting on right now, basically like a Japanese pot noodle. I ate that because it was just simple. The rest of the time, I don't know. I didn't really cook in a hostel because there was actually facilities there to cook, but I kind of like I had something before I got home. Either I had like some rice or something like that, or most of the time I actually bought like a thing of rice and heat it up in the microwave. Oh, this chair is not comfortable, but yeah, most of the time I just did that and heat up in the microwave. I ate a lot of rice over there, but everything. The food was pretty cheap. Like on like streets and like in 7-Elevens and that. You can eat pretty cheaply if you like lived off 7-Elevens and Family Marts. What else? That's how I basically if I was going to a park, I'd go into a 7-Eleven in the morning time. I'd get like a few. There's like I basically lived off these like bread things. So basically, it was like it was about €1 each. So it was about 120 yen, which I know like 100 yen is like 70, 50 or 70 or 80 cents. So it was just under €1 for these bread things. So basically like a bread roll. It looked like meat inside it, but when when you actually like look at one end of it, it was basically just like it was like fried potato basically, but it was really soft, and I don't know what it was, but it was just absolutely gorgeous, and I basically lived off that. It was that with barbecue sauce, and it was just really nice. And there was like different things. It was like a pizza roll, like basically it was like a soft piece of bread, like a hot dog bread, with like cheese on top of it, and it was and garlic, and it was just like it was great, and it was really really cheap too. And like that would do me like for like a snack or something. and then I get a drink, and that would do me like nearly the whole day until I get like home and I get like a proper meal. But yeah, and then the only things I really spent on was when I went to like the Pokemon Center, and when I just bought like random like souvenirs and that bit. That's kind of what cost the most. As in, I bought souvenirs for my friends. I bought like stuff for me, and I think that's what I spent most of my money on. But yeah, well, it's kind of has to be expected. Or like I bought pretty cool things. I bought a PlayStation 1 that as soon as I plugged it in, it kind of nearly went on fire. But that was because the voltage is a lot different. So I didn't take into account, and now I have a PlayStation 1 that it possibly doesn't work anymore. But it was only €8. It was dead cheap, and yeah, it was. And I also bought like a few games that doesn't work, but I will region unlock my DS and get that to work. But yeah, so basically what I spent most of my money was on like spending on like buying souvenirs and stuff like that. I spent a bit of money on food too, but that's because like there was a few days I did go into like a restaurant, and I had a meal at that, and it cost like maybe like 1,500 yen, which is still around like €10, which is like a normal kind of meal like over here. So it's not too bad. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you want to go to Japan, pretty cheap. Just pick like a time of year that's not, like, on basically what's that word? On season, off season, on season. Yeah, on season, I guess. Pick a time of the year where it's not on season. As in, I think basically, from September to February or mid-March is off season, and I think that's why I got my flights pretty cheap. But yeah, it wasn't too cold at the end of February. Like around middle of I got there in the middle of February, so it wasn't too cold. It rained for like 2 days I was there, but it didn't rain like, oh Jesus, wow. It didn't rain not the whole time I was there, but it rained for like 2 days. But the weather was still pretty nice in the middle of February. And if you go at the end of March, you'll see the cherry blossoms blooming. Like I seen a few cherry blossom trees blooming, but obviously there would be a lot more when I went in the end of March. But I think the flights were like an extra €100 or €200, so I was just like, eh. So yeah, I basically stayed around Tokyo, as in the trains were dead cheap. They were like €1 for like a single journey to somewhere, and between €1 and €3, depending on how far you went. But that was just around Tokyo. But if you want to go like to Kyoto, so basically like their side of Japan, that was slightly expensive. That would have been €140. So that was quite a lot. But if you wanna go to Kyoto, if your main thing is to go to Kyoto, but you kind of want to see Tokyo for a few days, I would say fly to Kyoto, and then you're there, and then just go to like Tokyo for 1 day or something. It would just be way cheaper, unless you buy like a rail pass, so you can go between all of Japan for so much. But it really depends how long you're going there for. I went for 10 days, 11 days, and yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, I went there for like 10, 11 days, and I spent under €1,000 altogether, like including flights and accommodation. Well, around that, as in spending money. Obviously, I spent most of my money on traveling, because a train, like I know it's only €1 for a single ride, but yeah, but I'd be using that train maybe 4 or 5 times a day, as in getting from where I was staying to wherever I was going, and then maybe going somewhere else in the middle of the day when I and then it was it wasn't always just go there and then come back. There was like once I explored one place, I kind of want to go somewhere else. So I say you're probably going to pay maybe between 6 and maybe between €4 and €6 a day for train, and yeah, and then including that over the week or the 2 weeks I was there, it could have been maybe €50 for a train altogether. But still, that's not too bad for transportation. And then food, I say it could have been another €50. So and then the attractions I went to. So I went to like a planetarium, I went to aquarium, I went to museums. I went to museum twice actually. I went to the zoo. I went to like, like a fucking cat cafe. There's random different things I went to that obviously cost money. So you add that up to like being like near €50, and then the rest of it is probably just like spending on just random ass stuff. As in when I went to Akinabara, I just like on like not slot machines, but the grabbing things, like you could have thrown like €1 into that and fail, and then you won't find like a couple of euro going, and you're like, fuck it, because when you're using a different currency, unless you're calculating in your head how much you're spending all the time, you can't lose track. So you go like, okay, I have 500 yen, chuck it in, fucking, and you're like, oh wait, no, that was actually like €4 I just spent. I would never have spent that back in like your own country. It's like, shit, what did I just do? But then you're like, fuck it, I'm on holiday. So that's kind of like your excuse. If like when I spent something I wouldn't normally spend, I was like, yeah, no, fuck it, I'm on holiday, YOLO. But yeah, that's not a good way to think, because you end up spending a lot then on random shit then. But anyways, so cheap accommodation, hostel. I stayed in a hostel, not a hotel. I shared a room with 4 other people, but my room was basically free for like a full week. So I was in a 4-bedroom room with just me for like the first 6 days. So like get cheap flights, go in like off season, get like a hostel or a capsule hotel, somewhere cheap like that. You could do house sitting either, as in you take care of someone's house and then you get to like live there for free. There's couch surfing, where you like stay at someone's house and then you teach them English or something. You tell them stories and just share your experiences, and then they let you stay there for a few days. There's plenty of stuff you can do for free accommodation, or not free accommodation, but really cheap accommodation. There is a few free accommodations, but it's going to be hard to kind of get it. Get cheap enough flights, even if you have to stop over. Like if you really want to go, like my friends we're going somewhere in the middle of in the summertime, and I wouldn't care if we're staying in like a small fucking hostel with bad flights. I just like being there, and like when I'm out, like I wouldn't care staying in a hostel, because I'm not going to be there during the day. Like they want to like stay in a nice hotel, but if you're going to be in a hotel most of the time, then get a nice hotel. But if you're going to be out and about, looking about, like I wouldn't care where I stay, as long as I have a bed. So depending on what kind of person you are, if you're a person that can't stay with other people in a room, and you wouldn't want to stay in like a hostel or something, and you want to have comfortable flights, you're not gonna get anywhere for cheap. So it does come down to kind of what kind of person you are. If you really want to go somewhere, it shouldn't matter how you get there, or how basically it's just getting there and experiencing it. So yeah, that's really it. I can't really think of many other things, but yeah, you can go to Japan for cheap. It's not impossible, but it does mean like having to compromise on some things, as in you have to be, like for flights you're gonna have to stop over, wait somewhere for a while, or like wait somewhere for the night, get like a room for the night somewhere. It's going to be accommodation. You might be sharing a room with other people. Food, you might be able to, you won't be able to allow to eat fancy food every night, or in a restaurant every day or something like that. But and then everything else is pretty solid. So yeah, that's really it. I hope this was kind of helpful. Anyone that's thinking of going to Japan or wants to go to Japan, I advise you just to look it up. Look in loads of places. There's plenty of websites that compare like a lot of flights together, and and you'll get an email then if you sign up. If you like, put in your email address, they'll tell you when a really cheap flight is coming up for the place you want to go. So that's really it. I really hope this was helpful, and I did my best to tell you basically everything, and about how what I spent and stuff like that. So yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.